WADR. WADR.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Lagos. Good afternoon, and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at WADR.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. President Tinubu calls for all hands on deck as Nigeria marks 65 years of independence.
On this 65th anniversary of our independence, my message is hope and a call to action. The federal government will continue to do its part to fix the plumbing in our economy.
IOM repatriates over 100 Gambian migrants from Tunisia. Ghana to establish special code for illegal mining cases. Extradition law under review.
Since we are going to have dedicated court, that will be prosecuting offenders of illegal mining and other things. Will it call for removal? So as they set up the court and we see how effective it is, then we know what to do. Because of the sheer number, because the numbers are so large that the foreigners get away with it.
And Rift Valley fever outbreak in northern Senegal claims lives, prompts urgent health response. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
My name is Sankule Janko. Welcome to our listeners across the sub-region and beyond. This edition opens in the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the country marks its 65th Independence Day anniversary. President Bola Tinubu, in his national address, called for collective effort to reposition Nigeria globally, urging a shift from consumption to production. He defended tough economic reforms, including the removal of the fuel subsidies, saying they are necessary to build a stronger economy despite rising hardship. Nigeria continues to grapple with inflation, a weak currency, and slow growth. Here is an excerpt from President Tinubu's Independence Day speech.
Therefore, on this 65th anniversary of our independence, my message is hope and a call to action. The federal government will continue to do its part to fix the plumbing in our economy. Now, we must all turn on the taps of productivity, innovation, and enterprise, just like the Ministry of Interior has done with our travel passports, by quickening the processing. In this regard, I urge the subnational entities to join us in nation building. Let us be a nation of producers, not just consumers. Let us farm our land and build factories to process our produce. Let us patronize made in Nigeria. I say Nigeria first. All the goods, let us pay our taxes as well. Finally, let all hands be on deck. Let us believe once more in the boundless potential of our great nation.
Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaking there. Meanwhile, Nigeria's 65th Independence Day marks a significant milestone in the nation's history. The West African state gained independence from British colonial rule on October 1, 1960. Since then, its journey has been marked by a mix of triumphs and trials, from a devastating civil war and a series of military coups to the eventual return to democratic governance and ongoing economic challenges. WDR's Usman Omar in Abuja reports.
When Nigeria gained independence in 1960, hopes were high for Africa's most populous nation. 6.5 decades later, the country remains a land of vast potential but also deep contradictions. Nigeria boasts Africa's largest economy, driven by oil and a growing tech industry. Yet, poverty, unemployment, and inflation continue to weigh heavily on billions of citizens.
A whole lot has been going on presently, especially on Twitter. So tribalism, number one, and bigotry, it's quite embarrassing, to be honest. We should have moved beyond that. And I feel like that That's like taking one step forward and 50 steps backward. It's quite embarrassing, to be honest.
Security concerns ranging from insurgency in the northeast to banditry across states remain pressing. However, amid these trials, the resilience of Nigerians endures. On the streets of Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and many other cities, citizens reflect on what independence means today.
One thing that surprised me is the spirit of entrepreneurship in the country. Well, I mean the spirit of entrepreneur, the way business is going these days, because I'm an entrepreneur actually, and far back, and it's not just going to school, at least now, if you go to school now, you can do your business, even right in school. And I've always had this mind, I love 8 to 5 job, but these days, you see, before you graduate, a lot of us have our business already. So I think that's one thing for me that I really like. One thing I would want, I think security, because, you know, I usually go out late to do some delivery, and if there's security, there's no time I can't go out. I think that's for me. Security is just one thing if they can, because I can't go outside Lagos. Like, I have phobia for leaving Lagos.
As Nigeria turns 65, it stands at a crossroads. A nation of great strength, still striving to match its promise with the reality of daily life. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
Away from Nigeria, Ghana's Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak has announced plans to revive the country's extradition order and establish a specialized court to handle legal mining cases, mainly those involving foreign nationals. The minister noted that many foreigners engaged in illegal mining have historically evaded punishment, a trend the government is now determined to reverse. These planned reforms aim to strengthen enforcement and ensure offenders, regardless of nationality, are held accountable under Ghanaian law. WDR's Accra correspondent Nadi Tete has more in the following report.
According to Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak, the decision is intended to ensure the country's extradition order is more humane. Speaking at the West Africa Mining Security Conference, Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak said the review will take away the discretion of the sector minister in deciding who to deport and rather streamline the process in dealing with offenders.
Yeah, we have started the process because, look, in the Immigration Act 573, it gives the Minister of Interior some kind of range of powers where if you find an individual, even in a country, that you think his or her presence does not enload to the benefit of the public, it gives you, the minister, the right to remove that person. I think that I want to take away that discretion so that it is well defined.
The Interior Minister believes that setting up specialized courts will lead to a more effective measure in tackling illegal miners.
Since we are going to have dedicated court, that will be prosecuting offenders of illegal mining and other things. Will it call for removal? So we are revising. So as they set up the court and we see how effective it is, then we know what to do. Because of the sheer number, because the numbers are so large that the foreigners get away with it.
He further cautioned that mining must not only be seen as a revenue stream, urging a shift in mindset towards sustainability and responsible practices. At the event, Australia's ambassador for counter-terrorism, Gemma Huggins, said the two-day West Africa Mining Security Conference is an important platform to discuss security challenges in the region and their impact on mining.
The conference over the next 2 days is going to be a fantastic way for our mining companies and security firms to have these frank discussions about what's happening in the region. The conference is a great opportunity to exchange information, have frank discussions on the security situation in the region and ensure our mining operations here are able to mitigate some of the security risks.
The conference was organised by the Australian High Commission under the auspices of the Ministry of Interior. For WDR, Nadi Tete, Accra.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Elsewhere, a total of 105 Gambian migrants were repatriated from Tunisia to the Gambia on Tuesday with support from the International Organization for Migration, IOM. Their repatriation is part of IOM Tunisia's voluntary return program, which assists migrants who wish to return to their countries of origin safely and with dignity. The group traveled on the 18th chartered flight organized by IOM for voluntary repatriation since the beginning of 2025. Imo Eda tells us more in this report.
According to the International Organization for Migration, IOM, the Gambian nationals will receive support aimed at facilitating their social and economic reintegration under dignified and sustainable conditions. This operation is part of IOM's Voluntary Return and Reintegration Assistance Program, which provides migrants with a safe and supervised repatriation process. In July 2025 alone, IOM facilitated the voluntary return of 1,096 migrants from Tunisia through 3 chartered flights and 35 commercial flights. IOM says as of July 30, 2025, a total of 5,336 migrants have been assisted in returning to their countries of origin under the program. These efforts aim at addressing the increasingly precarious conditions faced by migrants in Tunisia, including limited access to employment, housing and basic services. IOM's voluntary return program remains central to regional migration policies, particularly as Tunisia continues to serve as a key transit point for migratory flows toward Europe. The UN agency reaffirmed its commitment to promoting safe and dignified return options that align with international standards and national priorities.
Imo Edet filed that report. Let's now focus on the Central Sahel region, precisely Niger, where the start of the 2025-26 academic year has been postponed from October 1 to October 15 following widespread flooding across the country. In an official statement, the government explained that numerous school buildings are currently being used as temporary shelters for flood victims, making it impossible to begin classes as scheduled. In an official authorities say the delay will allow time to assess the situation and make alternative arrangements to ensure a safe and effective start to the school year. Francis Boniface completes the story.
In a statement, the Nigerian government stated that as of Tuesday, September 30, 2025, 524 classrooms across the country have been destroyed by flooding due to heavy rains. Additionally, nearly 240 schools are still being used to shelter flood victims. According to authorities, the decision to postpone the start of the school year to October 15 will provide time to repair flood-damaged schools and clear classrooms currently occupied by displaced families. The delayed reopening affects nearly 3 million students nationwide. In addition to the flood-related challenges, the government is also facing pressure from contract teachers demanding several months of unpaid wages. On Monday, the teachers held a sit-in protest in the capital, Niamey, to denounce the non-payment. However, the demonstrators were dispersed by security forces using tear gas.
A report from WDR's Niamey correspondent Mutala Zubeiru, voiced by Francis Boniface. Meanwhile, Niger and Mali have renewed their commitment to deepening bilateral cooperation in the face of escalating armed conflict across the Sahel region. This comes after a 24-hour official visit by Niger's transitional president, General Abdurrahmane Tiani, to Mali on Tuesday. During the visit to Bamako, President Tiani met with his Malian counterpart, Colonel Assimi Goïta. The two leaders discussed key areas of mutual interest, including defense, diplomacy, and development as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen regional solidarity and coordination. Abdullah Hassan reports.
Since taking power in July 2023, this marks the second visit of Nigerian Transitional President Abdurrahmane Tiani to Malian soil. Upon his arrival in Bamako, General Tiani was welcomed by his Malian counterpart, General Assimi Goïta. The two heads of state first held a one-on-one meeting, which was later extended to include members of the Malian and Nigerian delegations. Their discussions focused on several key issues, notably defense and security. In this regard, General Tiani highlighted progress made in the operationalization of the joint force of the Alliance of Sahel States. On the topic of development, the Nigerian Transitional President Tiani also announced the launch of the Confederation's Investment Bank, an important step toward economic integration within the AES framework. At the close of the meeting, the two military leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation between Mali and Niger and consolidating the achievements of the Confederation of Sahel States, AES.
A report from WDR's Bamako correspondent Ali Cham, voiced by Abdullah Hassan. You're listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here is a reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu calls for all hands on deck as Nigeria marks 65 years of independence. IOM repatriates over 100 Gambian migrants from Tunisia. Ghana to establish special court for illegal mining cases. Extradition law under review. Still ahead, Rift Valley fever outbreak in northern Senegal claims lives. prompts urgent health response. We also have guest interview and sport news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In another development, the interoperable system of the instant payment system known as the PI platform is now officially operational across the West African Economic and Monetary Union UMO region. This digital financial transaction system was launched by the Central Bank of West African States, Bissau, on Tuesday, September 30, in Dakar, Senegal. An initiative of UMO, the PI platform aims to provide a real-time interconnected payment system that operates 24 hours across all 8 member countries, enhancing financial inclusion and cross-border transactions within the region. Details with Christopher Aticho.
Speaking during the event, the governor of the Central Bank of West African States, Jean-Claude Cassibro, stated that the digital financial platform is designed to promote financial inclusion, reduce reliance on cash, foster innovation, and enhance the economic and financial integration of the West African Economic and Monetary Union UMO. According to Governor, the initiative is tailored to meet the needs of nearly 150 million populations, a significant portion of whom reside in rural areas with limited access to traditional financial services. Also addressing the gathering, Senegal's Minister of Finance and Budget, Sheikh Diba, emphasized that this move is expected to drive widespread adoption of electronic money and further reduce the region's dependency on cash. Meanwhile, Guy Marshall Awona, president of the Federation of Banking and Financial Institutions Association of UMO, said the new platform would eliminate the tedious manual processing, operational errors, and uncontrolled delays that have previously plagued financial transactions. On the sideline of the event, financial experts explained that the new infrastructure enables seamless interaction between banks, microfinance institutions, fintechs, payment institutions, and e-money issuers, all on a single digital platform. It allows users to instantly send and receive funds from a bank account, mobile money wallet, and microfinance accounts, whether they are in their home country or elsewhere within the UMO region.
Christopher Atichu filed that report. In some health matters, an outbreak of Rift Valley fever has been affecting Senegal's northern Saint Louis region for several days, with health authorities confirming several dozen cases and nearly a dozen deaths so far. Rift Valley fever is a zoonotic disease that spread from animals to humans, primarily through contact with infected livestock or mosquito bites. In response, Senegalese health authorities have launched a series of urgent containment measures aimed at breaking the chain of transmission in the affected areas. Dr. Abdoulaye Sall, Deputy Regional Director of Health for the Saint Louis region and coordinator of the epidemic response, shares key insights into the strategy being implemented. He spoke to WADR.
Elle s'organise autour de plusieurs secteurs parce que c'est une zoonose, donc une maladie.
It is organized around several sectors because it is a zoonosis, a disease that passes from animal to human. It is also a disease that affects the environment, sanitation. It is also a disease that affects the health sector. So, around the Regional Committee for Epidemic Management, the sectors have organized themselves to make a coordinated response. In this response, there is a lot of intervectorial fighting activity because, as I said, it is the vector that transmits the disease. There is a vast campaign of peripheral vaccination, that is to say that we vaccinate the animals that are around the foil. If the hygiene services find infected animals, the animals around these forests are vaccinated. And there is also an anti-vectorial struggle among animals, including repulsives that make mosquitoes and peppers. At the same time, hygiene services do spray at home to also be able to reduce the population of vectors, the population of mosquitoes, in order to further reduce the risks. And this is naturally combined with sanitizing activities to reduce the seasickness and odors.
Et cela est combiné naturellement à des activités d'assainissement pour réduire les mares d'eau et autres.
Dr. Abdoulaye Sall is Deputy Regional Director of Health for the Saint Louis region in Senegal. Similarly, in Liberia, health authorities are investigating 4 deaths linked to the Mpox virus. The fatalities occurred at the Starbucks isolation facility in Monrovia and the government hospital in Bokana, located in Grand Bassa County in the west central region of the country. According to latest updates from the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, NPHIL, the diseased individuals may have had underlying health conditions including HIV and AIDS and sepsis. The situation is raising concerns about how COVID-19 infections could potentially worsen Mpox outcomes and implicate efforts to control the spread of the virus in Liberia. WDR Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker reports.
The outbreak was initially announced by the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization in August 2024. As cases rise across the West African sub-region, Liberia's public health system remains on high alert, implementing surveillance and response measures. The National Public Health Institute of Liberia says it is conducting sequencing on specimens from the deceased to better understand the circulating stream of the virus. As of September 30th, 2025, Liberia has reported 923 laboratory-confirmed cases, with 169 cases currently active and 750 recoveries. Health authorities in the country have urged citizens to remain calm and adhere to strict hygiene practices and as well report any suspected cases to health facilities.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is The Guest.
Well, in this segment of the guest interview, we turn the focus to the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the country celebrates 65 years of independence today, marking a significant milestone in its national history. Nigeria, a key nation in West Africa, gained independence from British colonial rule on October 1, 1960. Since then, its path has been shaped by both triumphs and trials, including a devastating civil war, a succession of military coups, a return to democratic governance, and ongoing economic challenges. Well, joining us now is Musa Ododo Abdurrahman, chairman of the National Policy Dialogue, a political expert, to help us reflect on Nigeria's journey over the past 6 decades and to share insights on where the country stands today and what the future may hold.
We're still backward compared to what democracy is in other climes that have gotten their society, the evolution of our society in all perspective right. So we're still struggling as democracy.
What are the key lessons Nigeria has learned from its civil war and military coups over the years?
I'll answer you no, and I'll give you a practical example. If you see what is happening in Nigeria now, you will know what I'm talking about. Everybody is crying. Don't let elders. Don't let no country survive the 2 civil wars. So we must the way people. I'm talking about elders now, not even people a little older than like us. I'm talking about elder statements now. That since civil war they are talking about, they come out in FIFA fora, they come out in they will team together in all kind of in all kind of different kind of movement. Saying this that they are always coming. To let us know that there is what they saw. Let me paraphrase one. What he said what is happening. What they're seeing is exactly what they saw that preceded the civil war. So meaning that people ask, I will not learn lesson. So my brother, I'm telling you, that's why I said there's no half truth. It's seemingly maybe just looking for words. So maybe we have not learned. I'm telling you, we haven't. I'm in my early 50s now. Sometimes I wonder, why are we like this? And it still boils down to that which I'm talking about. Everybody, Nigeria, that is why I will talk about the existence of the conscious creation of a true nationhood. Nationhood is not simply the product of borders or shared colonial history. True nationhood emerges from conscious statecraft, the deliberate weaving of diverse peoples into a unified destiny. Nigeria's major weakness lies here. It has existed as a country, not yet as a nation. So we are not breathing as a people. We are not.
Right.
So we have not learned any lesson. And I know why we have not learned any of this lesson. But when we started, it was very, very, very good when we started. But people in every generation will discover their own mission. They either fulfill it or betray it. I'm telling you, I must give it to our founding fathers. I still call them the best amongst us. Yes, they knew what they wanted. They wanted independence, and they went for it. They declared to us an independent country. The call and responsibility of this generation is to consciously create a nation out of that country, which you have not. This we have not. There's no conscious aspect to it. All we want is people talk about power. Go and study all these nations. You want all civilization. Power cannot birth a nation. Nations are born, my brother, and they must be fathered.
Right.
Nigeria is a nation waiting to be born. Nigeria is a nation waiting to be born. So we need fathers to birth for us a nation.
In your view, what are the biggest political challenges Nigeria faces today?
The biggest challenges politics face today that we are not playing higher politics. When I say higher politics, moving away from manipulation, patronage, and this power for power's sake. Politics must be redefined as a noble art of nation building. See, it's going back to that nation building again. So it's not politics that we want to grab power. Power has never governed a nation. I'm telling you, human being cannot govern power. It is only wisdom that can give meaning and direction to power. And it's betting a nation, that is what you need. So there must be a coming together. There must be coming together, not of politics. There must be coming together. Nigeria is at the pinnacle of the most significant evolutionary transition. People that discern time, that understand time, will tell you that we've never been here before. So this is a time. It is in disorderliness orders are created. This is a time that we must come together because if people must believe in a cause, unite on that purpose, have a consensus on where they want to go, how they want to get there, and when as a people. And power do not just necessarily bring it, because the nature of our power is already dividing us. That is why they call it the beautiful line of Nigeria. They call it fault line, ethnic line, religious line. Now that is what power feeds on. Power divides naturally. Immediately you say you are PDP, just like major party PDP or APC in Nigeria, people see it. I say you are not. No, you are PDP. It's already divided. It's already divided because there is no cohesion. There is no cohesion right from beginning. Politics is not supposed to be like that. So I advocate what I call higher politics. That's part of my advocacy. That we must higher politics. Politics are not for us, for purpose. A purpose-driven politics.
Musa Ododo Abdurrahman is the chairman of National Policy Dialogue in Nigeria. And in sports, I'm glad that Imo Edet is here because his Liverpool team has been beaten. But his Champions League is back and African players are doing extremely well. And of course, Victor Osimhen of Nigeria was the difference when his Galatasaray side took on Liverpool. Imo Edet.
I mean, at the end of the game, you just have a mixed feeling. Your Osimhen dealing with your club. I mean, no choice. But let's start with that story where the Liverpool slumped to a shocking 1-0 defeat to Galatasaray on Tuesday as Victor Osimhen's 16-minute penalty handed the Turkish giant victory. The English champions were punished for the latest in a series of poor performances in Istanbul as they suffered back-to-back defeats for only the second time under Arne Slot. Liverpool was beaten for the first time this season at Crystal Palace on Saturday, but a series of late winners have masked an unconvincing start since the summer transformation of the squad that strode to the Premier League title last season. Well, in other matches, Harry Kane continued his rich goal-scoring form with a brace, and Nicholas Jackson scored his first Bayern Munich goal in a 5-1 win at Parfors in the Champions League on Tuesday. Kane was dominant up front, while Michael Olise created several chances drifting in from the left, having set the record for the fastest man to 100 goals in the top 5 league on Friday. Doing so from 104 games, Kane was quick to get on the score sheet, sliding the ball in with 14 minutes played. Well, let's come back to the sub-region here, where head coach of the Black Starlet, Prosper Nate Ogum, believes their preparations ahead of the game against Nigeria paid off following their progression to the final of the ongoing WAFU B Under-17 Cup of Nations. Ghana defeated Nigeria 2-0 on Tuesday evening to reach the final of the competition and book a place in next year's Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations to be staged in Morocco. Prior to the game against Nigeria, the Black Starlet had only won once, beating Niger in their final group game. They drew against Togo and lost heavily to Cote d'Ivoire in their first 2 matches. However, Ogum said a lot had to be done for the game against their arch-rivals. What can I say?
Well,
I mean, at that level, they are free to defeat the Eaglets.
At that level. From here, I think we'll have to go back to X and see what the trolls are now that Ghana have beaten Nigeria. With the sport news.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West African Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Ismail Kamara for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X and Instagram at WDR English, and on Facebook, WDR English Service. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is WDR Flagship Gender Program 50/50 with Didi Tete. I am Sankule Janko. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New Me FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM, Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.